How's everybody today?
Terrible.
Caught on pretty good there. Oh, look who's here. Dude, I recognize a few people here today. Good old Bird Key. We're going to begin with this passage from the Gospel. It's a favorite of mine and of so many. You hear me all right?
Yeah.
From St. John's account, Jesus said to his disciples, "Do not let your hearts be troubled. Have faith in God and faith in me. In my Father's house there are many dwelling places, room for everybody. Otherwise, how could I have told you that I was going to prepare a place for you? I am indeed going to prepare a place for you. Then I shall come back to take you with me, that where I am, you also may be. You know the way that leads where I go." "Lord," said Thomas, "we do not know where you are going. How can we know the way?" Jesus told him, "I am the way and the truth and the life. No one comes to the Father but through me." The gospel of the Lord. Praise you, Lord Jesus Christ. Well, I was surprised when Betty called me, asked me to say a few words at this memorial service for Stanley. I'm sure I was called to lend a religious dimension to this occasion. I remember Stan well. He attended several of my classes at the church several years ago. I have fond memories of him. Intelligent, athletic, social-minded. I knew he was quite ill at one time with different types of cancer, but I hadn't heard about his condition lately. So I certainly want to extend the sympathies of our parish to Betty, her children, Stan Jr., Jane, Wendy, Bill, and all the many friends and tennis partners and others who are here today. Here's a little story. Years ago, in a fashionable section of London, the Rothschild mansion was a point of tourist interest. Among the many people who passed by this pretentious palace, a number did not fail to notice that the end of one of the cornices was unfinished. Many must have made the remark, "One would think that the richest man in the world could afford to finish that cornice." Others could have said, "It is carelessness that caused this corner to be incomplete." But the explanation was much more meaningful. It is simple but very suggestive. Lord Rothschild was an Orthodox Jew. According to tradition, the home of every pious Jew must have leave some part unfinished, to remind the occupant and to remind the world outside that he who dwells there is just a pilgrim and a stranger on earth, just a sojourner and a traveler in this earthly sphere. That incomplete cornice would speak to all who pass by of the transitory nature of this life. It would tell those seeking wealth and power, really this is not the permanent home of the Lord. This man who lives here is traveling to eternity. This is just a temporary spot. Thus, every Hebrew home was a constant reminder that the resident was merely a sojourner, a traveler on this earth. Of that same fact, we are reminded by every death and funeral service. And this thought strikes sharply home as we gather to pay our respects to one that we loved. Actually, we are all merely travelers here, of course. It is a sobering thought that all of us here will someday come to the end of our travels here on earth and begin our life in eternity, wherever that leads. And it is most certain thing about life that it will indeed end. In fact, it is the only thing that we're sure of that will someday happen in our lives, that it will indeed end. Everything else is unsure, insecure, uncertain. Death, however, is certain. However, just how, when, and where that will happen is unsure. Every one of us will die, but none of us knows when. People die during the night, during the day, in infancy, childhood, in youth, in middle age, in old age. All of us will die, but not one of us knows where. Some die at home, some die abroad, some die in bed, some die on the street, some die at work, some die in recreation. Every one of us will die, but not one of us knows how. Some die slowly, some die peacefully, some die painfully, some die naturally, tragically, some die as in an accident. It is a constant message and a reminder in our church that we have to be prepared at all times. We enjoy the life we have here, the good things that God has given us, certainly. But we're always ready. We don't let the good things of this life distract us in our relationship to God, so that we are ready when He calls.